Hi everyone. I just wanted to share a video showing how we can use Google Classroom and Google Meet to be able to check in with students. There's obviously a few safeguarding concerns that we want to try and address, and Google have made that possible. So hopefully I'm going to be able to explain this. So if you set up your class, which I've done here, then you're able to use the meeting link on the top title here. Now, these do expire when you've used them, which is quite useful because it means that children can't rejoin. So in order to create a new code, you need to go into the settings. But I'm not going to do that yet because I just want to show with a student how at the moment with this code that has expired, they wouldn't be able to. So if I move to my example student here, you can see they've got the same code as I've got. If they click on that, if it was an active code, they would be able to join. But this says you can't create a meeting for yourself, contact your system administrator. So that code is not working for this test student. So we go back to our classroom, you go to settings, and you scroll down to the general tab, and you can see Meet here. You can press the down arrow and then just reset that code. Okay, and you see it generates this new link. If you go back into your classroom then, you will see that new code is represented here. And after a few moments, if you go into the student view, then theirs will also change. You might have just seen that actually flash change, so it's the same as this. Now, that person will then be able to use that link to join, but only when I have started the meeting. So you can see here, that they still can't access the meeting there. So I'm going to go to mine and start this meeting using this code. It says getting ready to join, and you can just join now, and then I am in the meeting. Now, before you start any meeting, I would click on, can I move that? Yes. This safety settings here, host controls, and you can turn off quick access so that they need permission to join. Sharing their screen and the chat function can turn off as well. And then we can go back over to the test student and see if she can then join. So she clicks on this now. It should be active. And it says getting ready to join, and then they have to request to join. And this is where it gets confusing because there's me and me. So the student wants to join. You could deny that entry if it wasn't someone who's on your list, or in this case, we will admit. I think I'm going to quickly have to mute her. Yeah, sorry if you got that sound. That was horrible. Right, hopefully you can still hear me, otherwise this is a bit of a flaw in the system, but so we've now both muted. I'm hoping that it's still recording through the other video that I'm using. And you can see that currently it's me, and actually this space on the screen would be the student. Now, when they come in, it would be worth setting some ground rules. You can actually mute the participant. So if you go to the chat, the people tab, then you could mute her if she hadn't already muted, but we would request that person to mute. The other request is that they blur their background in their settings. So, and again, this isn't something we can do. If they go to the more options here, they can change the background. There's way too many pictures of me here. And they can blur the background. That should apply. I can't tell if that's actually happened, but it should be able to do that, and I would request that every time you go on. Now, then you would have your meeting, but the important part here is how you actually close down the meeting so that children can't come back on without you. So we can look at, again, our test student. Now, that person can choose to leave So she just click on here and she exits. And then you can see if you go to mine, that person has left the meeting, but she is able to rejoin whilst it's loading. So if something happened, a problem, then they could actually come back on whilst you are still running the meeting. Join now. And then she is back in the meeting. The dangerous one is if you leave the meeting, and this is where you don't want to leave the meeting until everybody else has gone. So I could close this now. I close the meeting down, but if we go back to the practice student, she is still in the meeting. And if you had, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, however many children still on there, they would all be in there with free reign to chat on the video. So you don't want to do that. But there is a way you can sort this out. So when you are closing the meeting, request that everybody leaves the meeting. So in this case, as Tara's here, she can leave. She's left the meeting. Now, whilst you wait for everyone to leave, when everyone's gone, you can close the meeting down as well. Now, if we go back to our test student, she can try and rejoin, and it won't work. This meeting has already ended, so she can't rejoin it. So that's really important. Now, there is one other way to remove people. So we can go back to our class. Now, if for every meeting you need to set up a new code, so you go to that gear icon again, because the other code will now be expired because it's ended. That's a safety measure. You go to here, reset, creates the new meeting. Meeting code goes there. You exit this, and your meeting starts there. The student will then get their meeting as meeting code, the new up-to-date one. You join. Do the safety measures, so turn these off. Now we go back to act as the student, and they should just be able to join. Again, they will need permission to join. So we go back to me as the teacher. Student wants to join, admit, and you'll have two. Again, you could go here and mute them. Unfortunately, you can't unmute them, so they would need to learn how to do that. But the other feature here, so if someone's not left the meeting when you've finished it, or actually if someone's acting inappropriately, then you can remove them from the meeting. So I'm going to remove the student from the meeting. They've gone. Just me in the meeting now. If we go back to the student, you've been removed from the meeting, and that person can't then rejoin. So if they go back to this code, then you can't join this video call. So you see it's expired. So when you actually remove someone, they can't rejoin, unlike if they left and then rejoined. Okay, so I think really want to basically end it there. But important points then, you as the staff member, we're saying you want 2 members of staff on, just so there's one monitoring it as well as leading the meeting. You can only have one person controlling it. Think about, obviously, your professional dress, unlike really what I'm wearing today. You should blur your background, but I suppose a neutral black background as well is perfectly fine. And also be careful with the tabs that you've got open. If you happen to be screen sharing, there might be something you've looked at previously or something that gives away personal information, so do be careful of that. Students can't record the meeting from their device, but they could easily just use a phone to record it. So that could be happening, so just to be aware of that. And obviously it would be important to set some ground rules with the children. I thought my thoughts on this were, if they're all muted, then hands up if they wish to speak, and you can tell them to speak. Camera on with a blurred background. Chat off, but you could give opportunities for children to put a question in the chat bar. And it's a bit like school, isn't it? If someone's acting inappropriate, then you'd give a polite warning. If they're continuing that, then It might be the case that you have to remove them and deal with it afterwards rather than let it spoil the meeting. Okay, I'm hoping this is going to have recorded now. I'm going to try and close my Loom down, which I don't know how to do. I don't know where it is. Oh, I don't think it's worked. Now boiling. Shoot, man.